This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's very difficult for me to put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant.
The tributes are pouring in from across the globe after the death of NBA superstar Kobe Bryant. The latest information on the deadly helicopter crash and the reactions from local athletes.
A community breathing a sigh of relief this morning. The brand new details we're learning as police in Franklin arrest 2 suspects in connection with the deadly shooting.
There's a good chance that you or someone in your family currently has a student loan. We have the important information on a scam that could leave you with a big bill, so you don't waste your money.
And here at RTV6, we're partnering with local students, helping our next generation become smarter consumers of media. This morning, I'm teaming up with students at my alma mater, Center Grove High School, as we look closer at one of the school's newest additions.
We want to welcome you in here on this Monday morning, January the 27th. Thank you so much for joining us.
Really a busy week ahead already. The death of Kobe Bryant, the impeachment trial continues, and we're kicking off a really exciting media literacy campaign with kids from Center Grove. So welcome, Center Grove and the South Side. Always great to have you here in the studio. They're in the green room right now, but we'll talk to them, right?
They're getting the VIP treatment.
Right.
Yeah, it's great to have the Trojans here with us today. But before we get started with all of that, we do want to check in with Todd Clausen and our forecast for this week ahead. Todd, what can we expect today?
You know, lots of clouds. That's the basic deal in the forecast throughout the day today. And with those clouds, temperatures aren't really going to move a whole lot. So you're walking out the door. And this morning, the temperatures that are anywhere from 27 to 32 degrees. That is actually above normal for this time of year. But there's still that damp feel out there from all the rain and the snow showers, that wintry mix that we saw over the weekend. So it actually feels a little bit cooler. And you definitely need to have the heavier coat handy. Been tracking a few flurries this morning across northern portions of Indiana. They should not impact central Indiana. If you're traveling up Interstate 69 and you do see a flurry or two, it's not going to cause any issues out there. So that is the good news. And this overall weather pattern is just very, very quiet, not only for today, but really for the entire week. So let's get you out the door first, though, on this Monday morning. You may need to grab the extra cup of coffee to start off the work week here. The temperatures hold pretty steady through the 10 o'clock hour, right around 29 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, and then eventually 31 degrees by the noon hour, and from there we only really go up another couple degrees for your afternoon high. We'll talk about that and look ahead coming up in just a few minutes, but at 6:02, let's get you updated on the roadways with Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a look at traffic right now on the northeast side. Traffic's picking up at I-465 and I-69. No delays here to slow you down, so that is great news. Let's take a look at our traffic now maps as we plan out your drive heading in from the south side, starting off here in Greenwood at Fairview Road, heading up to the I-465 ramps. A quick 9-minute drive, no delays there. And then across the county, starting you off actually down here at Whiteland Road, heading up to the North Split, an 18-minute drive, so everything there is traveling up to speed.
Breaking news on a story we've been following overnight. A second person is now dead after a shooting at a West Side strip club early this morning. Police were called to the Pony on Lafayette Road around 2:30 this morning. Officers on scene tell RTV6 a man was causing trouble inside of the club and had to be removed by security. He began to drive away, but circled back and began shooting at the security guard. The guard returned fire, killing the man. The security guard was hit and taken to the hospital, where he later died. We are still learning more details about the incident, and we will keep you updated as soon as we learn more info.
He was an incredible athlete and a leader in a lot of ways. He inspired a whole generation of young athletes.
Athletes, celebrities, and fans around the world are mourning the shocking death of NBA legend Kobe Bryant. Authorities not publicly confirming the victims' identities, but several news outlets have confirmed that Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter were among those in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California, Sunday afternoon. 7 others on board also died, including Orange Coast baseball coach John Altobelli, his wife and daughter, according to the college. Witnesses say they heard the helicopter flying low, then crash into the hillside. Kobe Bryant was on his way to his daughter's basketball game when the crash happened. The NTSB is investigating and looking into maintenance records to determine the cause. Kobe Bryant's game influenced generations of fans, including those right here in central Indiana.
Pre-game, post-game, and on social media, players and coaches with ties to the Hoosier State sharing their condolences and memories. Indiana University head coach Archie Miller and Boston Celtics head coach and Zionsville native Brad Stevens both sharing their memories of the basketball legend.
Kobe Bryant, he was a year older than me in high school. He grew up in the state of Pennsylvania. He played for my dad in the McDonald's All-American game. I mean, like, that can't be real.
My first memory of Kobe was his dad recruited my best friend in high school. And, you know, Kobe was just a kid playing open gym with him. And he was, my best friend came back and just told me, I just played with the best 16-year-old I ever saw.
Former Pacers players also reacting on social media. Reggie Miller said, "This is piercing my soul. Prayers to the Bryant family, hard to even comprehend." Mark Jackson wrote, "Hurting today, praying for family, friends, and fans of the great Kobe Bryant. God bless." They also honored Bryant before last night's Pacers game against the Portland Trail Blazers with a 24-second shot clock violation. Kobe Bryant was only 41 years old.
The time now is 6:06, and we take you down to Johnson County. A fatal shooting remains under investigation. Police announced the arrest of 2 males late last night around 11:30. Our Alyssa Donovan is live outside of Franklin PD headquarters with the very latest. Tell us what's going on.
Good morning. So one of those suspects was arrested for felony murder and other charges. The second suspect was arrested for assisting a criminal. Now, the victim in this case was an 18-year-old man. He was shot multiple times on Saturday evening. Police say he was found on Hurricane Street right by the Boys and Girls Club of Franklin. That teen was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, Franklin Police Chief Kirby Cochran put out a call on Facebook asking for the public to send in tips. They posted a picture of a car they believe to be involved in that shooting. By Sunday morning, police had found that vehicle, and last night the chief announced the arrest of those 2 suspects. Now, Chief Cochran told us on Saturday night that shootings really just don't happen in Franklin, so when they do, they take them very seriously. Now, police say they are expecting other charges on the suspect that was arrested for felony murder charges. As soon as we get those details, we of course will have them for you. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The time right now is 6:07. Animal rights advocates will gather at the State House today. They'll speak in support of House Bill 1200, which prohibits the private ownership of dangerous wild animals. The goal of this proposal is to protect first responders and communities from wild animals that are currently legal to keep as pets. The event is being held by the Humane Society, and it will run today from noon until 4. That's this afternoon.
Also happening today, men and women who have served our country in the military are invited to speak with lawmakers about issues that are important to them. It is all for Indiana Military Veterans Legislative Day at the State House. A breakfast will start at 8:30, followed by the opportunity to visit information booths hosted by veterans organizations. Participants can meet lawmakers after lunch. Supplies for veterans experiencing homelessness will also be available.
So let's keep on the theme of veterans. A local veteran is gearing up for a major challenge to raise money and awareness for veterans issues. Starting at midnight on February the 1st, Dustin Johnson will attempt to run 100 miles in 24 hours. The fitness store Jackrabbit helps supply Johnson with nutritional supplies as he prepares for the big day. He says he also hopes to inspire other veterans to make positive changes in their lives.
I'm hoping that veterans in our community can just, maybe see what they're capable of. That, if this guy's going out and running 100 miles, maybe I can get up today and go, walk a mile to get a little bit healthier, a little bit better, feel a little bit better about myself.
Johnson is running as part of the organization known as Team Red, White, and Blue. That organization connects veterans through physical and social activity. We wish him all the best. Wow, 100 miles. That's going to be a long run.
Here at RTV6, we are partnering, Raphael, with local students, showing them the role media can play. Just after the break, I head back to Center Grove High School to learn more about a brand new addition to their campus. Todd.
And as you head off to school and to work here this morning, you're walking out to temperatures that are fairly uniform. We're in the 20s for most of us across the area, and you will not need the windshield wipers, but be on the lookout for just a few isolated slick spots, mainly on outlying untreated roadways. You notice those temperatures not changing much here this morning. That's due to the cloud cover. We'll talk all about your forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:09. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
Keller and Keller.
I actually want to do journalism for a career.
You're hooked. Okay, I love that. RTV6, with our parent company Scripps, is working on a special project on news literacy.
There's also the community impact on that.
In the age of social media, fake news, how can our next generation become smart consumers of media?
It's not even just affecting like sports.
Like,
that's what you see when you look at it. It's an investment in the community.
So we're partnering with area high school journalism students who are doing some great work, and together we're putting together a news story for their community. I graduated from here in 2010. Seems kind of like a long time ago now. We're in 2020, so 10 years ago. And so I took the opportunity to come back to my old stomping grounds here at Center Grove High School, meet with my journalism teacher, Mrs. Tedrow, and a few of her brightest students who are doing some amazing journalistic work inside these walls. They came to me with the story ideas.
First thing that comes to mind is the safety thing.
We conducted interviews.
How do you think a student activity center will benefit future generations of robotic students?
Presented data. So I usually say in 3, 2, pause, and then you start talking.
Practice it a few times.
And then you have to say it like you're just telling your best friend. Shot video. Visually, you have to think about, well, what are we going to see on the screen? And put together this story.
Every single year since we've been here, we've been doing construction.
We're taking a look at some of the major building projects on campus, like the Student Activity Center, to see how they're being utilized by the student body as a whole.
They saw a lot of pushback from the community.
We follow up to see if promises were kept and if the Student Activity Center is not just a place for athletes, but for all.
Drive down Morgantown Road or a drive up Victory Lane is full of hard hats, heavy machinery, and a lot of mud. Construction, a common sight on the grounds of Center Grove High School. But with a growing student population, new facilities house new opportunities, like the Student Activity Center that stands in the shadow of Ray Skillman Stadium. The SAC is home to a number of different student activities, including track and field, all in 59,500 square feet. Plus, they expanded the weight room to over 7,500 square feet. And they did all this without raising your taxes in White River Township.
We just kind of have our own space on the school campus.
Chase Rivas is a senior and the executive captain of the school's Red Alert Robotics program that hosted their first big competition in the SAC this past year.
So it's awesome that we're now able to host competitions at every level, all the way from an elementary school level to our level. So we've got the whole pipeline of our organization that we can have tournaments for now.
And that was not left to chance. Even before construction started on this $10 million addition to the school grounds, student groups gave input.
We got an input of how the floors were going to be mapped, and so they were able to take us into consideration, and that's been a huge benefit to us because we're going to be able to forever now have competitions in here if we need to.
And so did the community. Concerns about another apparent sports facility led to a remonstrance petition drive for the project. But supporters gathered the signatures needed to make it happen. And now, as it stands today, the SAC is upholding the promise to be a place for all.
It's booked solid. Usually, like I said, during the day, it's a classroom by day and a practice facility by night.
Scott Knapp is the assistant athletic director at the high school, tasked with scheduling out the SAC.
From December to March is our busiest time, with it being the winter season.
He says the SAC provides much-needed space for sports like track, baseball, softball, and more. Plus performing arts practice space for color guard and dance team. And it's also open to student organizations and clubs like Red Alert Robotics and even a drone flying club.
Not only do we want our students to get a top-notch education, but we want to get them involved in things within the school.
Well, besides the Student Activity Center that you saw there, Center Grove is also expanding and growing in so many different areas. So our student partners, Olivia Oliver, Kelsey Osborne, and Maddie Heineman, took on the task of breaking down several new construction projects happening around campus. You can find their full story right now at theindychannel.com. And of course, we'd like to thank the Trojans for partnering with us on this news literacy project. Keep up the great work.
Well, Raphael, it's good to know one day when we're old and gray and our time here at the desk is up, we will be leaving it in good hands.
In the green room are our replacements. Basically.
But can any of them do weather? Was that part of the story?
I think they can. They're talented.
And if they can't, I'm sure they can learn.
Yeah, exactly. We'll teach them when they come in. All right. It's been a pretty dry month for us as far as snowfall goes. Obviously, we've had a tremendous amount of rainfall. But with the snow that we saw over the weekend, and it wasn't much, our monthly total is now up to 0.3 of an inch of rain. So that's the 9th lowest snowfall total we've had in the city of Indianapolis to date for the month of January, and I really don't see any snow in our forecast as we round out the month later this week. So it's been a very, very month with not a whole lot in the way of snowfall. Again, we had 2 big rainstorms, though, when we had that flooding earlier in the month. 27 in Crawfordsville, 28 in Bloomington, as well as Richmond. 28 is the common number, it looks like, as you work your way from Tipton up towards the Peru area. It's 28 in Indy. So when you look at the bigger picture here, there's no real bitter cold Arctic air and there's no real warm air, and that means it's going to be a pretty seasonable week for us temperature wise. Keep in mind our average high this time of year is 36 degrees. Our average overnight low is 21, so we're going to be running well above the overnight lows, and then eventually by the end of the week high temperatures will be climbing up into the 40s. So throughout the day today there's not a whole lot of warming, and that's due to the clouds that are in place. 34 degrees will be our high temperature later on this afternoon. By 6 p.m. we're down to 33 degrees. Here are the clouds that are in place. There are a few flurries this morning up near Fort Wayne, so if you travel up I-69 you may run into a flurry or two, but really nothing that is going to cause any issues out there on the roadways. And as we expand out, no major storm systems heading our way. This one's going to bypass us to the south. You don't have to worry about that at all here throughout the day today. So will we see any sunshine today? I don't really think we see much of any sunshine. I do think this afternoon the clouds will start to thin a little bit and the skies will get a little bit brighter. But other than that, it's going to be a mostly cloudy day for us. And with those clouds and that northwesterly wind, the temperatures are going to hold pretty steady, not only throughout the day today, but this evening will be right around freezing from 7 p.m. through 10 p.m. Then overnight tonight, we'll see our temperatures only fall down to right around 32 degrees. So they don't really move much at all. So tomorrow is another cloudy day for us. 32 at 8 a.m., 34 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour. Our high temperature tomorrow is up to 36 with mostly cloudy skies. The high at 36 is seasonable. The rest of the week, not much changes. Cloudy skies on Wednesday. Thursday, I think we can work a little bit of sunshine into the forecast. But honestly, the best chance of sunshine in this forecast, not until the end of your 7-day that you see there on Sunday, with partly cloudy skies and a high temperature up to 47 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at your commute this Monday morning over on the west side, I-465 here and I-70. You can see traffic is moving along just fine. No crashes or delays to slow you down, but let's take a look at your drive times and plan out your commute. Heading eastbound right now on I-70 from Ronald Reagan Parkway near the airport to I-65 here at the South Split. It's a 12-minute drive. No crashes or delays to slow you down. That is traveling up to speed.
The time now is 6:20. President Trump's impeachment trial starts back up today with some pivotal decisions coming this week there in Congress. Senators will decide whether to hear witnesses or go right to a vote that could acquit the president. His defense stated opening arguments on Saturday and will lay out its full case today. They're not expected to use the full 24 hours. The trial will resume at 1 this afternoon. We'll have coverage on the RTV6 app.
A drop in crude oil prices means we're paying less at the pump. The average price of gas in the U.S. dropped to $2.60 a gallon, down 4 cents in the last 2 weeks. Diesel also went down by 2 cents. Honolulu came in as the most expensive for gas prices. Houston is the cheapest.
Here's your chance to be part of research on Mars. Take a listen to this. NASA is looking for someone to lead a mission that would bring Martian samples back to Earth and help us understand the red planet a little better. Things like Martian rock, soil, and atmosphere. NASA says the job will be based in Washington, D.C., and applications close February 5th. I didn't know that was something you just signed up for.
Sign me up. I'm ready to go. Let's do that thing. Come on. Federal regulators are shutting down a loan service company claiming it wasn't paying off student loans. Now, former students are learning they still owe money on those loans. Coming up, a warning to everyone about loan servicing scams so you don't waste your money. We'll be right back right here on Good Morning Indiana.
NTM Saturday only at Ashley Home Store.
Welcome back. It is time right now to get a check of our forecast, or check of our weather, our traffic. What are we saying right here? It's Monday morning, and this is over on the east side, I-70 and Sherman Drive. You can see traffic is picking up in both directions here. No delays, just slow down.
Todd, Lauren's trying to steal your job.
My goodness.
It's Monday morning. It's a pay week, and Lauren wants to double dip. She wants to do traffic and weather.
And weather.
And the news, too. Well, let's talk a little bit about breakfast. With the help of Tony the Tiger, the Kellogg Company and Hy-Vee set a Guinness World Record with Frosted Flakes boxes. They used 4,000 boxes to then knock down the line like dominoes.
Cool.
That is the most cereal boxes used in a domino topple. I know, Raphael, that is what keeps you up at night. How many boxes are used in a domino topple? Those boxes were all then donated and aimed to bring attention to hunger issue. Once they were done, those boxes, like we just said, given to local food banks to kick off a week-long food drive. You can't go wrong with Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome cause right there. Well, an adorable puppy found itself in quite the jam and was rescued by firefighters and also given a new nickname. Look here, this poor guy. 3-month-old puppy getting its head stuck inside of a spare tire. California firefighters tried to use oil to get the dog free. Well, when that didn't work, they had to sedate the puppy, cut the wheel enough to safely remove her. They shared pictures on social media and gave the puppy a new nickname, Wheelie Pup.
Look at that smile.
And doing okay today.
So some NBA players on the court, they paid tribute to Kobe Bryant during their games yesterday with special messages on their shoes. Houston Rockets' P.J. Tucker wrote, "There will never be another." Others on the New Orleans Pelicans wrote, "R.I.P. Rest in peace, Kobe. Go for greatest of all time, and legends are forever." One player also honored Bryant's daughter, writing, "Rest in peace, R.I.P. Gianna." I have to tell you that watching the opening of the Grammys yesterday, I thought that a shout out to Alicia Keys and Boyz II Men and all those folks that really took the time to really set the mood there. It was just well done. And it's very difficult for all those folks, but I think the tone of those awards yesterday really began on the right foot. So
yeah, there was a lot going on yesterday, and then that happened. It was just a shock for everyone.
Yeah, they were able to just move that show around and just hit the right tone, which I think is very difficult when someone that many of those people in that room knew have to then also celebrate music. But as Alicia Keys pointed out, music brings us all together.
It does. And we'll have a little bit more on the highlights from the Grammys coming up a bit later. We do want to get some weather highlights, though, from Todd, despite Lauren trying to take his job here just 3 weeks ago.
I don't think there's any highlights coming up in the weather forecast. At least it's not snowing. But unfortunately, just lots of clouds this morning as you walk out the door. And temperatures that are going to be pretty steady, right around 28, 29 degrees throughout the entire duration of your morning commute. And then honestly, we really don't warm much more from there. Highs today only will get up into the 30s across the area. 34 in Peru, about 34 in Indianapolis. Don't bank on a lot of anything in the way of sunshine today, as the clouds will ultimately win out.
Todd, thank you. If someone in your family has a student loan, chances are they have a loan servicing company that handles that loan. But what if that company turned out to be a fraud?
Consumer reporter John Matarese shows why thousands of students may now be on the hook for unpaid bills, so you don't waste your money.
Many of us have student loans that we've been paying off for years. So imagine learning that the company you faithfully sent your money to all this time turned out to be a big fraud and was never paying down your loan at all.
It's okay, buddy.
Unfortunately, everything's not okay in Karen Morris's home. She received a letter from the FTC informing her it's freezing the assets of her student loan servicing company, Mission Hills Federal.
The Federal Trade Commission was closing them down because it was a student loan scam.
The FTC claims Mission Hills took in more than $23 million from college grads like Karen, but failed to repay their student loans. Worse, the U.S. Department of Education now tells her it'll take her tax return or garnish her wages to get the money she still owes.
Now, student loans want to take my tax return.
How much money do you currently owe for your student loans?
$2,000. And they're going to take my tax return this year.
Sadly, this is not an isolated case. Loan servicing scams and loan forgiveness scams target thousands of students every year. So what are the warning signs that your loan company may not be on the up and up? NerdWallet.com says warning signs of a loan repayment scam are upfront fees, promises of loan forgiveness. The company advertises on social media. The company has a high number of complaints.
I mean, I was doing what I was supposed to do and paying my student loans back every month. That was my agreement.
No one answered Mission Hills phones when we called, and the Department of Education tells us they're investigating to see if any of this debt can be forgiven. Till then, don't waste your money. Working for you, I'm John Madries. Good morning, Indiana.
Now on Monday on this Good Morning Indiana, here's a look at your 6:30 news feed. In Lafayette, a review board is scheduled to meet today to discuss a police shooting that left one man dead. The shooting happened last Monday at 23rd and State Streets. An officer shot and killed the man during negotiations to get him to surrender. The officer involved is currently on paid leave.
3 Anderson teens have been charged in connection with a crash last weekend that left a 19-year-old woman dead. Sophie Darlene Robbins died after police say she and 3 teens were speeding around Madison County. Police say a rock crashed through Robbins' windshield, causing her to go off the road and roll the car several times. The other teens were charged with leaving the scene of a crash.
A federal appeals court has sided with a Lafayette couple who challenged Indiana's birth records law. The couple argued that the law discriminates against them and their children because birth certificates don't account for same-sex spouses as parents. The appeals court ruling reaffirms one from a lower court in a 2015 case that required the state to recognize the couple's children as their own.
Now let's take you to Monroe County. An associate professor at IU taking steps to file a lawsuit against the City of Bloomington. Kara Cadu was arrested last summer for protesting a farmer's market vendor who has ties to a white nationalist group. But prosecutors did not file charges against her. Cadu recently filed a tort claim seeking compensation at least $500,000.
Thanks so much for joining us here on this Monday morning. Meteorologist Todd Clausen joining us here at the desk. And Todd, we want to warn people, this week's forecast, kind of boring.
Yeah, you know it is. It's a lot better when it's boring in the sense when it's sunny and 70 every single day compared to a lot of clouds that'll be around.
We'll get there eventually.
But we'll get there eventually. I tell you what, it's not bad for the end of January, just not a whole lot in the way of sunshine, not only today, but throughout this entire week. But it could be snowing and temperatures could be in the single digits and the teens. So what do you need to grab before you go this morning? Well, just grab the heavier jacket. Some of you may want to grab the hat and gloves. Certainly, you won't look awkward wearing the hat and gloves around here this morning. You don't need to have the umbrella or the sunglasses really throughout the day today. So it's Monday. You may need that extra cup of coffee to get going. Temperatures will hold pretty steady, right around 30 degrees. And during the course of the morning drive with these clouds that will be permanently in place throughout much of the day. We don't have anything really in the way of precipitation out there, although there's still kind of that damp feel from all the precipitation, whether it was the rain on Friday and then the wintry mix that we saw on Saturday. So throughout the day today, temperatures this morning will hold pretty steady. We'll go from only about 29 degrees here at 9 a.m. to 31 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour. We'll talk about the rest of today and the rest of the week for that matter coming up in just a few minutes. But right now at 6:32, let's get you updated on the roadways with Lauren.
All right, Todd, here is a live look right now. Your commute up on the north side. You can see lots of headlights moving across your screen, traveling both eastbound and westbound here on I-465. This is at Keystone Avenue on the north side. Right now, no crashes, no delays in this area. A pretty smooth Monday morning drive.
Breaking news from overnight. 2 people are now dead after a shooting at a strip club on the city's west side. Police were called to the Pony on Lafayette Road around 2:30 this morning. Officers say a man was causing trouble inside the club and had to be removed by security. He began to drive away but circled back and began shooting at the security guard. The guard returned fire, killing the man. But the security guard was also hit by gunfire and died a short time later at the hospital. We are still working to find out more details on this shooting, and we will have those for you as soon as they come into our newsroom.
It's 6:33 this morning. Franklin police have 2 men in custody in connection with a shooting that left another man dead over the weekend. It came after a widespread manhunt following that gunfire. Our own Alyssa Donovan is joining us live outside of the Franklin Police Department with what we know so far. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning. Shootings don't happen here. That's what Police Chief Kirby Cochran told our crew that responded to this homicide on Saturday night. And according to the FBI's crime database statistics, the city of Franklin typically doesn't see a single murder. Most years they don't report any, and on the high side, just 1 or 2. Now, the man shot on Saturday night was just 18 years old. It happened near the Boys and Girls Club of Franklin on Hurricane Street around 6:30 in the evening. The teen was pronounced dead at the scene. Shortly after, police released a picture of a vehicle pulled from a nearby security camera. Police believe that vehicle would help lead to a suspect. That car was found by Sunday morning, and by Sunday night, police had 2 men in custody. One arrested for felony murder, robbery, and other charges, and another arrested for assisting a criminal. We are expecting further charges in this case. Now, Chief Cochran did post on Facebook last night thanking the work of both the police and sheriff's offices, as well as thanking community members for bringing forward tips during the investigation. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
But in this case, Toronto, they are going to let the shot clock run out because of the number 24 to honor Kobe Bryant. And DeJounte Murray will do the same.
It was one of the first tributes to Kobe Bryant after news of the helicopter crash that took the lives of the NBA star, his daughter, and 7 others. The Toronto Raptors and San Antonio Spurs honoring number 24 by each taking a 24-second shot clock violation to start their game. Players and fans have been sharing their grief over Bryant's death, as well as the loss of his 13-year-old daughter and those 7 other victims.
That morning comes as investigators continue to try to figure out what caused their helicopter to go down. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the latest.
This morning, new clues about the crash that took the life of NBA legend Kobe Bryant. That column of smoke was first seen just before 10 a.m.
South of 101 helicopter went down.
Emergency crews rushed to the remote scene.
They did a search of the area for survivors. Unfortunately, all the survivors on board were determined to have been perished.
Now, as officials clear away debris at the crash site, which could take days, investigators are working to piece together why the helicopter went down, killing Bryant along with his 13-year-old daughter and all 7 others on board. The trip was supposed to take less than half an hour, but nearly 45 minutes after takeoff, witnesses saw the chopper begin to struggle.
Well, I heard a helicopter just flying just way too low, and I heard like a loud thud noise.
We can see that the aircraft hit at a very high speed. It was not controlled. There was no attempt to land. And so whatever happened here was catastrophic and happened in those last 15 seconds of flight.
Visibility at the time of the crash was so bad the LAPD had grounded police helicopters at the time. But the sheriff's department says it's too soon to know whether fog played a role. Those closest to Bryant and his daughter described being crippled by the news.
A lot of us broke down, so it was just like everybody started getting on their knees.
Known for his love of basketball, former President Obama stunned, tweeting Kobe was a legend on the court and just getting started in what would have been just as meaningful a second act. Memorials across the country growing by the hour, the biggest in Los Angeles, where fans say Kobe was larger than life. Overnight, other NBA legends like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar paid tribute. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Kenneth, thank you so much. Of course, that crash took the life of Kobe Bryant's 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. To her friends, she was known as Gigi. Now, this was the scene at the Mamba Sports Academy in California. It was the basketball tournament where Gigi was scheduled to play, and Kobe was supposed to coach on Sunday before that tragic crash. All players, coaches, and parents trying to absorb the devastating news there in a very emotional scene.
Well, more rockets fired at U.S. interest in Iraq. Next, the latest attack on the U.S. Embassy, plus the ongoing battles between the Iraqi government and protesters on the streets.
And just because it's on Facebook does not mean that it's true. Next, as the coronavirus continues to spread, a lot of hoaxes about the virus are all over social media. It's 6:38. We'll fill you in on what those could be coming up.
$1 million collected for our clients.
One person is being treated following another attack of a U.S. embassy in Iraq. Pentagon officials say 3 rockets hit the compound in Baghdad on Sunday.
Authorities say the injured person has since returned to duty. The embassy is in Baghdad's green zone, where several other Western embassies are also located. The site has been the target of several attacks in recent weeks. Earlier this month, Iran launched a missile attack in the area after a U.S. drone strike killed Iran's top military leader. After President Trump first claimed no U.S. service members were injured, the Pentagon now says 34 service members were diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries. Also in Iraq, at least 12 people are dead and hundreds more injured following 3 days of protests. Violence erupted just hours after a powerful Shiite cleric withdrew his support from anti-government protesters. Iraqi security forces used live ammunition and tear gas as they worked to disperse the crowds. Anti-government demonstrations started back in October. Activists are protesting government corruption, high unemployment rates, and foreign interference. Since October, more than 600 people have been killed during protests.
The time now is 6:42. A case of the coronavirus was confirmed in Arizona on Sunday. That means there are now at least 5 cases of this issue in the United States right now, and health officials say the threat may be growing. The virus is now confirmed in Illinois, California, Washington State, and Arizona. It is also in about a dozen other countries, and that includes China, where the virus originated, Australia, and France, and now there's a possible case in Canada.
As a country, we've learned a lot since the SARS outbreak in 2003, and this has allowed our country and all levels of government to work very closely together to ensure that we are prepared.
My crystal ball says the next time the WHO committee meets, I think it is likely that they will declare this a public health emergency of international concern.
So the Director General of the World Health Organization tweeted saying that he's headed to Beijing to find out more about the coronavirus outbreak. A market in Wuhan, China, that sold wild animals is suspected source of the outbreak.
So we know doctors are still trying to learn exactly how the coronavirus spreads, but despite the lack of information, that hasn't stopped a number of people in the U.S. from circulating rumors and misinformation, with much of it showing up on Facebook and other social media sites. Some of those popular hoaxes include this one from the conspiracy group QAnon. It falsely claims that the government created the virus 2 years ago, and it also somehow links it to billionaire Bill Gates. Well, that's simply not true. Another claim is that the virus was created so that drug companies could boost their profits by making a vaccine. Our partners at PolitiFact gave that claim its lowest rating of pants on fire. Facebook says it's working to pull all the postings containing lies about coronavirus off its platform.
School bus drivers are looking for answers. Next, the drivers that could be out of work soon plan to take their questions directly to the school board.
Get your knitting needles out, at least if you know how to use them. We'll show you how the Pacers want to put your skills to use for a very special event that will be here before you know it. But first, let's check in with Todd and the bus stop forecast. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, as the kids head off to school here this morning, you'll need to bundle up a little bit. Temperatures are in the 20s, a little bit of a damp feeling out there as well. And as the kids come home, not much really changes. Still mostly cloudy skies, just slightly warmer at 34 degrees. And this week, we're going to be dealing with a lot in the way of cloud cover, but no major storms. We'll share your 7-day planning forecast with you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:44. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 6:47 on your Monday, and we're keeping a close eye on your roads as you're heading to work or school this morning. Here's a look on the near east side. Our camera here at I-70 at Rural Street and Keystone Avenue. Lots of headlights moving eastbound and westbound. Everything is traveling up to speed.
Several IPS bus drivers will attend tomorrow's school board meeting in hopes of getting answers. Last week, the district announced major changes to its transportation department, putting the jobs of more than 100 drivers in question. Beginning in July, IPS will no longer operate its own transportation department. Instead, a company called First Student will operate all 305 bus routes. While the change is expected to save IPS an estimated $7 million, about 135 drivers could be out of a job. We spoke to David Robertson, the executive director of the Bus Drivers Union, who says there are now more questions than answers.
Folks that have been in it, that have been employed with IPS transportation for years, these folks have been loyal on both ends, and to say, oh, you got to reapply, that's kind of a slap in the face to workers.
In a statement, IPS says, in part, we value our employees and their loyal service and will work cooperatively with First Student to help all successful teammates find a new job within the company.
So I can sew, but I can't knit. So we're calling on all knitters like my mother-in-law who loves to knit, and the Pacers. See, the Pacers are looking for volunteers to knit beanies to promote the 2021 NBA All-Star Weekend right here in the Circle City. Ladies, get ready. We're going to knit something. The beanies will be given to volunteers and hospitality employees working All-Star Weekend. They will also be given as gifts to the players, the coaches, and other NBA VIPs. The Pacers will be holding several knit-along events throughout the year to help meet their goal of 6,000 beanies. You can find out more how you can get involved with all of this. Come on, we could do a team. Good morning,
we'll
Indiana.
Leave it up to my mom.
On the RTV6 app.
As we remember NBA legend Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and the other victims of today's tragedy.
The Pacers and the Portland Trail Blazers, like other NBA teams, pausing to honor Kobe Bryant following Sunday's helicopter crash in California. The teams still had a game to play in Portland. The Pacers offense showed up. Domantas Sabonis had another triple-double with 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists. But the Pacers defense had no answer for Damian Lillard. Lillard lit up the Pacers for 50 points as the Blazers win 139-129. The Pacers are back at home at the Fieldhouse on Wednesday to take on the Chicago Bulls.
It's time now to check your forecast at 6:49. Todd, it's going to be another just regular day here in the city, right? I mean, nothing, just
that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But when we're in January, it could be a lot worse. We could be talking about single digits. We could be talking about temperatures below zero. And we're talking about temperatures today that are going to be in the 30s for your afternoon highs. The forecast high is 34. The normal high is 36. So 2 degrees below normal today, but we'll get above this number of 36 by the end of the week as the 40s are set to return. As you look from downtown to the north, it's not a crystal clear picture. There's still a lot of moisture out there in the atmosphere. And so as you walk out the door, there's just that damp feeling that is out there. So 28 actually feels a little bit cooler than that because of the dampness. The winds are out of the west-northwest at 6 miles per hour. So the wind's not strong, but that west-northwesterly direction combined with the cloud cover today will really keep our temperatures from warming much at all throughout the day today. It's 27 in Crawfordsville, 28 in Bloomington, 30 in Greenfield. Richmond's at 28 degrees and 29 as you make your way over into the Greencastle area. There's no real warmth, a little bit warmer to our south, but you don't have those single digits or the negative numbers out there off to our northwest. So with that northwesterly wind, temperatures in Chicago, Minneapolis are in the 20s. So as that air starts to make its way into our area, we'll see our temperatures just climb up into the low to mid 30s here later on this afternoon. As far as any weather systems go, there's a few showers down to our south, but they're heading off to the east. They will not impact us. To the west, there's a few flurries near Kansas City. Those will basically fizzle out, and we're just left with a lot of clouds throughout the day today. They're pretty solid here this morning as we get into the afternoon hours. They should start to thin just a little bit, so skies will what we'll call brighten a bit, but we're never going to get rid of the clouds, and you're never going to get into any bright blue sky throughout the day today. But, as the sky starts to brighten, it'll make it feel at least a little bit better out there compared to this morning. And here is your hour-by-hour temperature trend. By the time we get to the noon hour, we're at 32 to 33 degrees. and then we hold just pretty steady throughout the remainder of the day. And then this evening, temperatures more of the same. 32 degrees through the evening hours with skies that'll be mostly cloudy as you wake up tomorrow morning. Temperatures hovering in the upper 20s to the north, about 32 degrees in Indianapolis. Then tomorrow, a little better chance of maybe a few peaks of sunshine, but overall it's a mostly cloudy day. Temperature of 35 degrees going forward in this forecast. By far the best day of at least the work week is going to be on Thursday with partly cloudy skies and a temperature of 38 degrees as we continue into the weekend. On Saturday, early in the morning, there's the chance of a few spotty showers. Nothing major, though. But look at Sunday. That's the best day in the 7-day planning forecast with partly cloudy skies and a high temperature of 47 degrees. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at your commute on the northeast side. This is our INDOT traffic camera at I-465 and Binford Boulevard. Everything here is traveling up to speed. A heads up, though, if you're continuing southbound on Binford Boulevard heading towards the downtown area, we do have a vehicle disabled in the left lane. Flashers are on. That's happening near Keystone Avenue, so just a few minutes from this spot, so use caution as you travel through that spot. Other than that, no major issues to slow you down around the metro area.
Lauren, thank you so much. It's the loss that's being felt around the world. Coming up today on Good Morning America in just 7 minutes, right here on RTV6, more tributes to the great Kobe Bryant. What Kobe himself said about being a father and some of the people who knew him best sharing their memories. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Visit the Hiring Hoosiers job board.
Do you think your daughter might want to play in the WNBA?
She does for sure.
She does?
I don't, I mean, this kid, man.
Wouldn't that be great?
Dude, man, I'm telling you. The best thing that happens is when we go out and fans will come up to me and she'll be standing next to me and they'll be like, hey, you got to have a boy. UNV got to have a boy, man. You got somebody carry on the tradition, the legacy. She's like, oh, I got this.
And right now, the greatest one-on-one game happening in heaven. Really tough to watch that this morning following the tragic deaths of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and 7 others in a helicopter crash. We will have much more, of course, coming up on Good Morning America right here on our TV6. We want to transition, though, one final check of our weather for this Monday morning.
Yeah, lots of clouds around here throughout the course of the day today. Maybe a few peaks of brightening sky and some sunshine later on this afternoon, but certainly not a guarantee. Temperatures today really don't do a whole lot. 29 at 8 a.m., 33 degrees by 4 p.m., 6 p.m. temperature right around 33 degrees. As we look at your next 7 days, there's not a lot of sunshine in this forecast this week. Thursday and Sunday, your best bets, but the good news, temperatures will be at or above normal.
And we're back here in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic.
And we'll leave you here with a live look out west, the lights at LAX, remembering NBA legend Kobe Bryant.